So yesterday on Sunday the 12th of April 2020, chapter 977 of One Piece came out, and the most exciting thing, most intriguing thing we took away from that chapter was the news or the revelation that Kaido has a son. In this video I'm going to be talking about all my different opinions on what this son could be like, how strong he could be, how old he could be, what his purpose for the narrative of this arc would be, and so forth. This is actually the first video, or one of the first videos on this channel where I'm going in without a script, so this is going to have a lot of jump cuts and it's going to feel like a very BDA lore style video. So when 977 dropped, like the scan release for the chapter on Friday, and I read this panel, my immediate assumption was that Kaido's son was a bit of a wuss, or he hated his dad, because Kaido basically says, my son, is he going to show up at the very least? This is a banquet, what is he doing? And that basically makes me feel like Kaido's son doesn't like him for some reason, or just doesn't want to be at this banquet. He's antisocial to some degree. Usually before I make a video on a certain topic, or before I stream about something, I make a tweet about something just asking a question so I can see what the general consensus on this matter is. So yesterday I tweeted out, what are your thoughts and expectations for Kaido's son? And the common consensus is that his son is going to be a wuss, a bit of a wuss. He's going to have a troll design, and it's just going to be classic Oda with the goofy design, Weevil 2.0. That's the general consensus. There was one reply from a good dude called Juan, and he basically, his expectations for Kaido's son is that he's going to be a sort of a shut-in teen, because the way it was worded about him needing to make an appearance, it gave off these come downstairs kind of vibes. Like, you know when your parents shout at you to come downstairs because you're all shut in your room and you haven't left your room for the entire day? That's the vibe that he got from this panel, and I kind of see where he's coming from, because I also got those kind of vibes from it. I was initially hoping that Kaido's son would be this badass, this strong dude, but at the same time it will probably be kind of cool if he's somebody who resents the actions of his dad but is really weak. Imagine he's super young. Imagine he's around the same age as Momonosuke. Imagine both Kaido's son and Momonosuke have the same issue of not being able to follow their father's footsteps or fit in their father's shoes, and that causes them to create a bond and to have a relationship, and their relationship could be one of the catalysts that allow the Alliance to win this war. I could see that being the case. One of my biggest, not issues, but questions regarding this Kaido's son thing is, if there's a son, there needs to be a mother. So who can fill that position? Who can be the mother of this child? Who is the mother of this child? I guess we don't really need to know. It's not something that we need exposition on, but it's something that would be cool to find out. Because I myself do feel like it should be Big Mom, but I don't know if it can be Katakuri just because of the ages, just because of the timeline. Katakuri, Oven, and Daifuku are triplets who are all 48. Big Mom is 68, which means she was 20 at the time of giving birth to these triplets. The general impression from most people is that Kaido is younger than Big Mom. By how much, we don't know, but it's got to be at least like 5 years, just because of the way they interact, and just because of the way Kaido looks, and the fact that he was called an apprentice at the time of the Rocks Pirates, and Big Mom wasn't. So that tells me Kaido is younger than Big Mom. So if he is the father of Katakuri, that would mean he had a child with Big Mom when he was like 13 or 14, or at the latest he could have been like 16, 17, but Big Mom was 20 and Kaido has to be younger. Unless Oda can just turn around and say, no, Kaido was actually 68 too, or perhaps he's even older than Big Mom, and we were just under a false impression. Maybe him calling Big Mom old hag is just meant to be an insult towards her appearance rather than her age. So we'll have to see for that. Kaido being the father of Oven, Daifuku, and Katakuri makes a lot of sense. Like, I saw this picture the other day from a guy on Twitter by the name of Soulstorm, and what he posted was basically Queen. It was Queen with the Big Mom Pirates, and Queen fitting perfectly, and then it was Katakuri with the Beast Pirates, and Katakuri fit in perfectly. It's almost as if they were swapped at birth or something, because it is uncanny how much the two of them fit in the other's respective crew. Another cool guy on Twitter that I know by the name of President Dio, basically, he shared his expectations, and he basically said he thinks that the son he's talking about is in fact Daifuku, because we know Oven and Katakuri were left behind in Whole Cake, so it makes sense that he's asking for just his son. Perhaps the the triplets hate their father because of some history that he had. They were born 48 years ago, which means they were 10 years old at the time of the God Valley incident, which means they definitely had met Kaido had he been their father. Maybe he was around for like the first 10 years of their lives until the Rocks Pirates disbanded. Still though, my qualm is with the age thing. Like, is Kaido the same age as Big Mom? Because I wouldn't see that coming. I don't have that impression. And if he is, I can understand this theory. But the ages, that's literally my only issue right now. It's literally just the ages. Oh, and there's the interview between a Japanese YouTube group by the name of Fishers and Eiichiro Oda himself, the mangaka of One Piece, where they basically asked, are Katakuri, Oven, and Daifuku the sons of blank? And that blank was basically, it was censored out, but that blank was enough spaces to fit Kaido's name. So most people assume that the person they're talking about is Kaido. And it makes sense that they were asking about Kaido anyway, because the second we saw Katakuri, most people were like, yo, this is definitely Kaido's son. This guy is probably Kaido's son. Big Mom is known for sleeping with hundreds of people, and she had her history with Kaido, so this has to be her son, blah, blah, blah. But then this interview came out, and that kind of messed with people's expectations. Although this isn't confirmed yet, we don't have a clear-cut answer, so the name was blanked out. So really and truly, the guy they were asking for could have been anybody. It could have been Dragon, it could have been Shanks, it literally could have been anybody. But of course, the most likely person they asked for was Kaido, so you have to keep that in the back of your mind. My current expectation, what I'm thinking right now, is that Kaido's son is going to be a wimp. He's not going to be a strong fighter, because I don't think Oda would introduce a major player who would be an antagonistic force to the Straw Hats and just the Alliance as a whole this late into the game. And also, if he was incredibly strong, then that would mean the Beast Pirates would have to be like top 1 of the Yonko crews, which I doubt, because I feel like that belongs to the Redhead Pirates. If he was this super crazy powerful guy, wouldn't he be mentioned in 957 by the Marines? Because the Marines mentioned Yasop, Beckman, and Rue for Shanks' crew. So if Kaido's son was this guy that's stronger than King, stronger than commanders, then wouldn't he be mentioned as this threat that Kaido has under his wing? I just really doubt he will be this extremely badass guy, but Oda could pull it off. There could be numerous ways to explain why he hasn't been mentioned yet. He could just be a shut-in in his room, but is still extremely powerful. He does have the genes of Kaido himself. But we do know that doesn't matter all so much, because, you know, Big Mom has quite weak children, and she's a Yonko. So at the end of the day, everything is in the realm of possibility. A couple of guys over on Twitter think that Kaido is talking about Momonosuke. Like, out of the deep respect Kaido has for Odin, he is trying to take his son for his own. So that's why he's saying, where's Momonosuke? Bring my son to me. And maybe he saw Momonosuke's dragon form and he said, you know what, I'm making this kid my son. that would make a lot of sense. I wouldn't like it, but it would make a lot of sense. Until we get any more information, because I do not think we're getting Kaido's son reveal next chapter. I feel like next chapter will be focused on the Flying Six stuff. Maybe we won't even see the Flying Six. Maybe we'll go back to the Alliance and we'll see Flying Six in like a few more chapters. So next week's on break. The week after that, if we get some more information in chapter 978 regarding Kaido's son, I'll probably have to make an updated video regarding my expectations for him, because right now it literally could be anything. It could be Daifuku that he's talking about, because Daifuku is present on Wano and he said, bring me my son. And the theories of Katakuri being Kaido's son, they're all over the place. You can check. There's so much things alluding to this being the case. But my biggest issue with that is obviously the age, like I've said already. Kaido could be referring to Momonosuke when he says, bring me my son. It would make a lot of sense if it's just explained well. Kaido's son could be a child who's like 8 years old who becomes friends with Momonosuke. Kaido's son could be this badass monster that's like incredibly strong, that's stronger than everybody in the Alliance, and Kaido just sent him out and he starts wrecking shit soon. However, I do think Kaido's son being a wimp who hates his father is the route Oda's gonna take with this, because the easy route is making this kid super strong, but making him an interesting character that actually has reason to hate his father and actually wants to see his father go down and becomes acquainted with Momonosuke, that would probably satisfy me more, and that would help justifying how this alliance would defeat the overwhelmingly powerful force of the alliance between two Yonko. And if you're wondering why I never brought up the possibility of his son being the ace that fits Kaido's card theme for the crew, I do believe Kaido is the ace himself, because like my friend Matt B has said in his stream on Friday, In sports, for example, in an anime called Haikyuu that I watch, the ace is basically the best on the team. It's number one. Ace is literally number one. Even in a deck of cards, ace is supposed to signify the first card, the number one. So to me, that's Kaido. I have heard the theories that Kaido is the actual card dealer and the ace could be someone else, and that makes a lot of sense. That could be the case too, but for now I'm going with the impression that Kaido himself is the ace, and that's why I don't think it will be the sun. But we shall see very soon, because he very well could be. That's it for today's video, guys. This was like an off the cuff, no script, just a straight up discussion, because the topic of Kaido's son is so vague. It could be anything. Anything is in the realm of possibility, so scripting this video wouldn't make much sense because my thoughts on this are like all over the place. It could be anything. I will be making some discussion videos over the next few days that are focused on a certain thing, so you can expect better quality videos in terms of actual discussion in the next few days. Like this video if you enjoyed. Please feel free to comment below your thoughts regarding chapter 977, regarding the Flying Six, and regarding Kaido's son. Also, please leave suggestions for videos you would like to see me make on this channel in the future. I am open to anything. Just tell me what you would like to see, as long as it's pertaining to current events in One Piece. Subscribe if you want to see more One Piece content, and that's it for today's video, guys. I've been Fiji. Peace.